Hey creative people, it's week 2 of the Ganbatte challenge. Ganbatte in Japanese means do your best, and this is what my sketchbook challenge wants to be. Just a practice on the same subject with different mediums. The medium you use rarely or never. Look in the corner of your shelf, those art supplies that you bought and never used, or you didn't enjoy it first. Choose a subject. Can be anything, a reference, a picture you took, or something in your place, in your home. Like for me, my bookshelf here in the living room, and start this challenge with me. It's gonna be weekly challenge for 4 weeks, so the full months of February in my case, but you can do whenever you want. It doesn't need to be a big masterpiece, it can be also just 15 minutes drawing. Important thing is that you have fun, make mistakes, be very impulsive with your drawing and don't care too much. Before jumping into the second week of this challenge, I want to thank all the new subs coming, mainly from the US, I think, from my latest video about the trade art supply fair in Frankfurt, Germany, called Creative World 2025. I received so many nice comments. I feel like this part of the community is the best thing on YouTube. People commenting it was the best video they've seen and watching again and again. People telling me they were repairing their car and watching my video on the other side of the world. It's a special feeling, you know? For all those people, I want to introduce myself quickly again. My name is Luigi. I'm an artist and physicist from Italy, but I live in Munich, Germany. I'm from near Florence originally. In this channel I'm talking about drawing, painting, my own art journey, and of course art supplies. So if you want to stick around, subscribe the channel. For week 2 of the Ganbatte challenge I need another medium that I'm using rarely. This one is a pen from Sakura, that is graphic pen number 2, and that means has a particular tip that is squared, so you can have different marks on it, bold or thin. Basically I wanted to buy the parallel pen by Pilot, but when I found it in the shop it was very long, expensive, and particularly it was not waterproof. And for me being waterproof is like important because I most often use some watercolor wash on top of my drawing, or ink as well. So I'm gonna use, like last week, a pen for my drawing. But this time I don't want to use again watercolors. I'm using another medium I rarely use, that is these Ecoline brush pens. They are extremely bright colors, difficult to use. I think I'm gonna just smudge them on a piece of plastic and use a watercolor. The gray ones is a set of watermarkers that I used a lot, particularly for my Inktober drawings, but the colored one, not at all. So let's go for it, guys. So just like last week, I start with a basic sketch with my pen, keeping the pencil sketch before. I want the draw to be very intuitive and with wobbling lines and mistakes in it. But that's my choice. If you want, you can have a pencil sketch before. You see, the peculiarity of this pen is that it's not that easy to control. You can get different marks, bold or thin ones. It's indeed a pen that is thought for lettering at the beginning. And I feel like it's a little bit different from the parallel pen I wanted to buy in beginning. With that one, most likely you can get very thin lines and it's black ink, so much deeper color. But as I said, the waterproof thing was a must for me. And that's the reason why I just ordered a carbon black ink that is specifically for fountain pen. And as far as I know, is one of the very few waterproof inks for fountain pen. I will try to use it on a very cheap one I have, and hopefully it's gonna work. I'll keep you posted. Back to the drawing. It's very basic drawing. There is not that much I can add to. It's literally the same as last week. If your reference is an animal or a person portrait, most likely you get every time very different ones. This could make your challenge even more fun. So I'm passionate about Japanese culture since I was a kid, and I'm very excited to tell you that I'm just booked my flight 2 days ago for Japan. It's gonna be my first time in there, and I'm very happy because I postponed this trip for a very long time, basically my whole life. It's gonna be in May, so if you want to see some Japanese stationery, stay tuned. These are the water markers I'm gonna use for the coloring part. Flat water brush on top of the plastic palette. Using again these water markers in this way, I feel like I found some scope to them, because if you use them directly as a marker on the paper, it's gonna be extremely bright. You can then smudge and watercolor them, but they are not that easy to dilute. I feel like this way is a much better way to use them. You can even mix on the palette. And it makes them also a kind of practical portable watercolor pen. Still you need of course some water and some palette to smudge them on. I do also have an Ecoline bottle in the ink format, but a black one. Tell me in the comments if you have used Ecoline and what are your feelings about those. For the sketchbook, I'm using a mixed media sketchbook. I show you last week as well. I recommend this kind of paper because in the end you're gonna use 4 different mediums in the 4 weeks of the challenge. So you may want to use some water effect as well. At this point the drawing looks a little bit yellowish, so I use a gray color or a brownish to add some contrast on the final part. Also on the floor to desaturate a little bit all the drawing that was kinda saturated. Feel free to add some details after the drawing is completely dried with a pen. So I'm adding the Ganbatte challenge week 2 label and some more details in the drawing itself. And then I can say the drawing is finito. Summing up what I learned from this sketchbook Ganbatte challenge week 2, all in all the drawing is pretty similar to last week, but the colors are much brighter and these water markers are not that bad as I thought. So I hope this sketchbook challenge trigger a bit your artistic vibes. Maybe you are in an art block situation or you just want to experiment. This is the right challenge for you. If you are joining, please tag me on whatever social media you use. I'm always with the same name, Illustrazioni di Lut. Tell me in the comments if there is a medium you want to experiment that you maybe bought and haven't used or you were satisfied with. I see you next week for the week 3 of the challenge and I thank you for watching. Bye guys!